Good afternoon, fellow viewers. Today I will talk about Aristotle and his influence on political thought and also his influence on Catholic political thought. Now, nowadays we tend to ask, who is Aristotle? Who is he in the political teachings? Now, we see that his influence was pretty much Plato, but throughout his 8 books, only 7 were truly Aristotelian, being due to the fact that the first book was influenced by Plato. Now, if we come to see, Plato did a great impact in Aristotelian teachings, but we come to see that there was a problem in his writings of politics. Throughout the writings of his politics, we see that he was writing a lot of the political situation and what he was living in, but his books are very unorganized, so sometimes we tend to have that problem while reading Aristotle's books. We see that in his teachings, Aristotle talks a lot about the ideal state, about private property, and about general things in life that we need, for example, the community well-being that is very important, for example, today in the Catholic political thought. We also come to see that he has influenced many political philosophers, such as John Locke. Now, if we move on to the Enlightenment and the tenets that Aristotle made, we see that the Enlightenment is a very big reaction against the main points of what Aristotle made throughout his political career. We see how there are very big reactions against what he places, and one of the counter-arguments that Enlightenment thinkers place on Aristotle is the fact that he was, up to a certain extent, in agreement with slavery. Aristotle thought that slavery was just part of nature and that it was part of human history. However, what the main elements in the Enlightenment we see today is that they face very big challenges towards addressing the big things that we see today that are so important for the Catholic Church, such as equality, such as private property, such as the well-being of the people, and rights also. We see all these different things that are not intertwined according to Enlightenment. Therefore, Aristotle always holds a very strong backbone for what his political ideal.
Well, probably the most important place where Aristotle has influenced Catholic political thinking is in the area of economics. Aristotle is a student of Plato, and Plato in his Republic suggests a form of communism in which all private property is held in common, it's all owned by the state. And Aristotle, in his Republic, says, this is nuts. This is never going to work. First, when something belongs to everybody, then it belongs to nobody. And what that is going to mean is that the work isn't going to get done, things are not going to be productive, this is going to be a disaster. The second part is he says, if we entirely abolish private property, then we can't give anymore. I can't give you something from mine because I don't have anything to give because it doesn't belong to me. So this then is very important for the Church's social teaching as it develops in the 19th century. When Karl Marx begins to propose the abolition of private property and a move towards a fully socialist economy, the Church says, no, absolutely not. This is going to be bad for the country, and it's ultimately going to be bad for the poor. So Aristotle's analysis, Aristotle in a sense refuted Marx over 2,000 years before Marx wrote. And at its heart, this gets adopted by the Catholic Church. Now, of course, the Church insists, and this is particularly important around Christmas, that we have an obligation to help the poor. And that's the second part of Aristotle, that to the extent that we have material possessions, we're supposed to give to the poor. And
throughout the filming of this video, I have provided a very extensive chronology of the impacts of Aristotle in political philosophy, and also we have seen how his influence has created a huge influence on Catholic political thought. We see that Aristotle is the main backbone of these two different philosophies, and he has influenced many people, such as philosophers mentioned in the past like John Stuart Mill and John Locke. Now the question remains whether or not Aristotle is a big influence in Catholic political thought and in political philosophy. Most definitely yes.